Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys saw the title of the video, and I'm going to flip in the subscriber's question. But yes, I had a subscriber ask me, Rich Piana's chest, is it implants or is it oil? Is it synthol? So this is going to be a really fucked up video because it's a fucked up question, so there's no other way to really take it other than for the just to be wrong on so many levels. But you know what? It's an interesting question. It highlights some very critical points and criticisms of this community, so I might as well cover it. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, see if I can skill up. And remember guys, my hat makes me look like a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. And bonus points for anyone who knows the reference. You win at life. Maybe not, but you at least win at the internet. So let's try to answer this question. You know, let me start off by saying, I remember a time, and this is going to show my age, God, I'm getting old, I'm about to turn 40, when I remember when guys used to ask, hey, what steroids do you think that guy is on? Is that guy on Dianabol? Is he on Deca? Is he on Primabol? What do you think that guy uses, man, to look like that or to have those lifts? What do you think he uses? Man, what steroids is that guy on? What stack do you think he runs? You know, what does he run? How much do you think he uses? We've gone from that to what sort of site enhancers this guy uses, because we know it's not real muscle. We can look at it and tell that shit's fake as fuck. What do you think he uses? What do you think he uses? And, you know, it's scary because I remember a time when, you know, guys used to just be like, you know, what happened to just doing a bunch of steroids and lifting weights and at least building some muscle? Now the natural guys, the guys even older than me from the generation further back, are going to say, what happened to just lifting weights, lifting heavy ass weight and eating a lot of food and getting big as fuck? What happened to that? Why did you guys have to go to the steroids? And then the next generation, we're looking at them going, what the fuck happened to eating a bunch of food, lifting heavy ass weights and using a bunch of steroids? Why are you guys doing site enhancement? What the fuck are you going to do with all this fake muscle? Having fake muscle is like having a big dick that won't get hard. What's the fucking point? But it's there. And I mean, we're looking at this, and people are actually having to look at guys like Rich Piana and ask the question, do you think that's collagen, oil, or an implant there? And that's fucked up because he's got so much of all three. He actually uses all three. It's clear when you look at him. He uses all three. And, you know, that's just Rich. Rich is over the top like that. He wants to make himself a cartoon-like character. He wants to be over the top. That's his niche. That's his hustle. I get that. But at a certain point, man, he went so fucking crazy with it. That, you know, when you've got like 8 inches, 9 inches of your arm diameter is not coming from muscle, but other stuff you put in there, it gets crazy. You know, people always ask me on that. His arms are mostly collagen, yeah. But there is some synthol in there too, but it's mostly collagen, like collagen injections. PMMA is what it's called. You guys can research that. Chicks usually put it in their butts to make them look bigger. But yeah, that's the reason his arms look the way they do. He looks like he's got calf implants. The chest, I've had to look before, and I've just noticed at glances that have come through. To me, his chest looks like implants. But you know what? I can't be 100% certain of that. I can tell you that if he's got implants in there, he's probably not putting much synthol in there. He doesn't want to risk pinning one of those implants. That could be a disaster. Absolute disaster. But I guess it looks like implants because obviously he's got the most fake muscle in his arms and shoulders. But yeah, his chest has a couple inches of fake muscle there also. And again, you can tell from the shape of it, but I've always guessed it was implants under there. And it looks like he's got the ones that go underneath the muscle. And he spent a good bit of money on that. So I don't know. I mean, what the fuck does this say about the community to we're at the point to where a guy who, you know, and again, I get it, Rich is over the top and people love that. That's his shtick. But where people are so obsessed with following a guy who puts so much fake shit in his body, on top of all the lifting and gear, it's not like the dude doesn't lift weights. It's not like he doesn't eat a fuckload of food. And it's not like he doesn't use mind-boggling amounts of gear. I mean, he gave his other stack before, and I gave an analysis of it. But, you know, that's just not enough, and he has to use collagen, synthol, implants, everything. It's just so over the top. You know, and I guess people like watching that. They like over the top. They enjoy it. They find it entertaining. And, you know, if he can make six figures doing that every year off the YouTube ads, and all power to him. I don't get it, but at the same time, I do get it. You know, it's marketing. I mean, make your money, man. If these people are going to be entertained by you and watch that, hey, man, go get it, brother. But, you know, it raises an interesting question about the community itself, because this is a growing trend. So many guys have fake muscle and synthol and everything. And we're at the point to where Boston Lloyd has been able to create an actual market and sell significant amounts of synthol. Like he says, he's making pretty good money selling that synthol. And when we're at a point to where someone like Boston can come online and make a profit doing that, that says something really negative about the community itself, the mindset of these young men. And I'm not actually not going to knock Boston for that, because Boston's example is, look, I'm not selling a scam product. At least he's not selling you guys a bunch of fart powder or shit that claims that it'll build muscle on you and doesn't. You know, I mean, it's not like it's a fake product that doesn't do what it says it does. He's selling a product that people demand, that works, that he personally uses for the exact same reason, that he's manufacturing and making sure he's getting probably a cleaner product than what most of the people are putting out. You know, so I can't knock the guy for that. I mean, that is actually, believe it or not, a legitimate business. He's actually providing a service that people want, and a service that actually does what it claims to do at a fair and competitive price. All right, that's free market. I mean, how the fuck can I knock him for it? I can't. But I can look at the community and go, what the fuck is wrong with you guys, that there's enough people that he's making good money selling synthol that want to inject fake muscle into their body? Like, what happened to building real muscle? What happened to actually putting muscle on your body that's both big and strong, that can move some weight, that can perform? To where so many guys are going to side enhancement. And it's not just competitive bodybuilders anymore. I mean, competitive bodybuilding has its own set of problems, all right? It's got its own set of hangups. Most guys who compete in bodybuilding, with some exceptions, have something mentally wrong with them in some way, or else they wouldn't subject themselves to that. Satisfied, emotionally healthy, grounded people don't usually get involved in extreme competitive bodybuilding. They just don't. But now we're seeing just regular fitness guys who are buying these things and using synthol and side enhancements and, you know, even implants. I mean, look at that. We see guys who don't even lift who are going and getting implants, and I've seen things done for it, like little skinny dudes who don't lift, who are 150 pounds, who are getting liposuction on their abs, getting ab implants. They're getting pec implants and bicep implants, and they look like they joined a gym a month ago after they're done. So they get like a month's worth of gains or 2 months worth of gains, but for thousands of dollars, without actually putting in their month or two at the gym. It's like, how superficial have we become as a society? I mean, this has been a problem for a long time with women. You know, I mean, women have always been expected to look a certain way and to focus on their looks, even sometimes to the exception of their health. And, you know, we've seen that, and they've been sexualized in that regard. And again, the fake breasts and the lip injections and all the plastic surgery that women do just for their looks, because in our societies in general, women have been valued more for their looks, sometimes more than for their minds. As unfortunate as it is, that's the world that we live in. But it's no longer just women anymore. It's now the same problem has spread to men. And I don't know, to me there's just something fundamentally wrong with it. I think it's bad enough when it's a problem for women. I'm not even saying that's a good thing. But now it's spread to men. I mean, when have men cared about this stuff, the superficial aspects of it, so much that they're willing to pay to have fake muscle put into their body? All right, I lift weights. I like lifting weights. I like lifting heavy. I understand that's not everyone's shtick. Not everyone wants to go deadlift 500 pounds for reps every time they go to the gym. Okay, I get that. But at a certain point, I mean, we're talking about people just adding fake muscle to their body that doesn't flex. It doesn't have any strength. It has no performance. It doesn't do anything. It's just useless stuff just stuck onto their body that serves no purpose at all, and they're paying money for it. And, you know, people are paying good money. I mean, we see all the guys buying this cheap-ass synthol and doing this, but there's also people doing plastic surgery for this stuff. I mean, the implants, you know, you got to remember that. The implants are getting really popular out in California, Hollywood, things like that, for guys who barely even lift or don't lift to get fake muscle. So you can be damn sure bodybuilders and other people who actually do lift and use steroids are using them too. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger supposedly got calf implants. You look at Rich. Rich, it looks like he's got pec implants in addition to all this other stuff he's got. He can afford it. You know, he's got the money for it. The guy can afford a Bentley. Believe me, he can afford some pec implants. You know, let's just be real. But at what point are people just willing to take the extra risk and deal with surgeries and inject stuff into their body that's not even putting actual muscle on them? I mean, when have we become so superficial that we don't care at all if the muscle is real, if it can move any weight or has any strength or any performance element? It just seems so crazy because, you know, again, guys used to lift weights before, and even in bodybuilding. I'm not even talking about in powerlifting or strength sports or anything. Even bodybuilding 50 years ago, 40 years ago, bodybuilders cared about being strong. They cared about being functional. It started from like strongman and sideshow type events to where they did feats of strength and everything and flexed and posed with it to show off their muscles after they performed feats of strength. Their goal was to have a form follow function, meaning they looked big and muscular and strong because they were muscular and strong. It's like they could lift a bunch of heavy ass weight. They could bend those steel bars. They could do those things. And because they did those things, it made their muscles bigger, and they understood that. And they looked at it that way. But now we've come all the way around to where there's almost a feminine attitude of, I just want the muscle. I not only don't want to work for it, but I don't care if it's actually even muscle or it performs like muscle. I just want to look in shape. I just want to look the part. I don't care if it's actually real. I don't care if it's a complete illusion. And that's what we're seeing at that point. Or even worse, you know, you see guys who have this quest for massive arms to where they're even going to the synthol now, guys who are already oftentimes on gear. They're already lifting weights, but their arms just aren't big enough to suit them. And they get to the point to where they're just injecting oil into their arms because they can't meet whatever standard they have set with actual muscle mass. So they just want something that looks close enough like muscle to make their arms big, but it doesn't even have to be muscle. And I think it's sad when people get that obsessed with building a muscle in their body to the point to where either lifting can't do it, okay, so then they go to drugs. They make that choice as an adult, say, okay, I'm going to take the risk of drugs. They take that risk, you know, which is risky enough. I mean, this stuff doesn't come without risk, guys. And people need to assess that carefully and intelligently as adults, as a mature decision. Hey, is that risk worth it for your life? Is that fit your lifestyle, your risk analysis? Is it worth it to you? And that's something only a person can answer for themselves. But then they take that risk, and then that's not enough. The drugs and the side effects and the cost of that aren't enough to actually build enough real muscle to make them happy, to where then they're just going to be like, fuck it, I'm just going to put some fake muscle in. I need another couple inches. Then I'll be happy. And you know what? In a way, that mindset is the same mindset of an anorexic. Anyone who's ever talked to an anorexic, do you know what drives them? It's that same mentality that when I get thin enough, when my waist reaches a certain size, when my waist is 19 inches, 19 and a half inches, my life will be perfect and I'm going to be happy because that is what's going to make me happy and that's what I need. That's going to make everything in my life right and fall into place. You know what? That's the sort of mindset that drives an anorexic. We're seeing the same thing now. The other direction with the bigorexia in men is that if I can get to that 20-inch bicep while having visible abs, well, I'm lean enough to have visible abs when I get to that 20-inch bicep, everything's going to be right in my life. It's going to fix everything that's wrong with my life, and I'm going to be happy and fulfilled finally at that point. And some guys, it's that 17-inch bicep or that 16-inch, and you know that happens a lot. A lot of guys start out with that, the same anorexic mindset that they have in the other direction of when I get to that 16-inch arm, my life's going to be complete. I'm going to be where I want to be. And they get to the 16 and it's not better. Then they decide they need the 18-inch arm, and so they go on steroids. They go on gear, they go on drugs, they don't get to the 18, they get to 17, so they up the dose and up the dose. They finally get to those 18-inch arms where everything was supposed to be perfect and right with their life, and they were going to get the girl they wanted, they were going to get the respect they wanted from other men, everything is going to be right. And it doesn't happen, and then they say, oh, I just set the standards too low. When I get to a 20-inch arm, it's going to be, everything in my life is going to be right. But the thing is, you know what? The guys who do that, 9 out of 10 times, it's muscle dysmorphia that drives these implants. It's oftentimes muscle dysmorphia that drives steroid abuse. Let's just be realistic. And a lot of guys who lift heavy from it suffer from it to some extent. I mean, it's normal in the lifting world. But when it goes to the extremes, those guys, even when they've got that 18-inch arm on steroids, they can't see it in the mirror. They look in the mirror and they see a little twig. They flex their arm, and that 18-inch arm with that vein busting out looking like a cock arm, they can't see it. And that's the saddest part. And that's the saddest part, because I've known so many guys who lift hard and train, go on gear and everything else, who they can't actually even enjoy the fruits of their labor. They can't even enjoy their hard work. They can't enjoy the sacrifices they've made with everything from the lifting to the diet, the drugs. They can't enjoy it because they can't actually see it. That 18-inch arm doesn't look 18 inches. You know, that 600-pound deadlift is still light. They feel weak. They don't get to enjoy it, and so they push for more. They push for more because they know that when they reach that certain threshold, they're finally going to be able to see it, and it's going to make things right in their life. They're finally going to be happy, and when they're happy, they know that once they're happy, it's going to bring everything else into place in their life, because once they're happy, they know they'll be confident, they'll be fun to be around, they'll get the girl they want, the job they want, the friends they want. It's going to make their life perfect, but it won't. And that's the saddest part, is how much work so many of these guys put in, and they'll never get to enjoy it because they can't see it. They don't ever get to actually experience the joy of their results, and I think it's a very, very sad thing. And it shows oftentimes how bad the mental illness is in this particular community, this industry, and how devastating it can be to people's lives. I mean, when you really think about it, it's really a sad state of affairs. And I wish it wasn't that way, but I don't know what to do about it other than to tell guys, when you get to that point, when you've got a 17-inch arm, lean, and you don't see a massive ass 17-inch arm in the mirror, and you don't think your arms look like you lift, it's about that point you should probably go talk to a therapist. Because if you don't, and you're still obsessed with bigger arms, and you still can't see it with the 17s, you're not going to see it when you get to 20 either. And you're going to make some serious, dangerous life choices getting to that 20. And you know what? You're still going to be just as unhappy as you were with the 17s, and just as unhappy as you were with the 13s. You know, definitely don't go to sight enhancement for it. God, guys, it's just so not worth it. That's the point where I think most guys need to go talk to a mental health professional at that point. You know, you're getting into some serious stuff, and I can't help you at that point. Your friends can't help you. Your family can't help you at that point. That's the point where you've got to reach out to an expert and say, hey, I think I've got a problem here. You know, and get their help and their advice, because the thing is, the problem isn't with your arms. It's not your biceps at that point. The problem's in here. The problem's in here. It's not in your arms. And until you fix what that is that's wrong, you're never going to be happy no matter how big those arms get. And that synthol sure as hell isn't going to get you there. It's not going to make you happy. So that's kind of my commentary on that topic. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.